Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Rachel. I'm the Education Director here at English Folk Dance and Song Society. And we have been very happy to run the Monday Folk Singers online since the pandemic started. So before that, we had something called Monday Folk Choir, choir workshops, and they were what it sounds like. They were just an opportunity to workshop and try different harmonies and sing in a lovely choir setting without the pressure of performing. So we also run a choir that's actually now 100 strong, that's absolutely about performing. But this was a complement to that. And that was going really beautifully. And then the pandemic hit. And um, our former education manager at the time, Esbian, along with other colleagues here, we just quickly got as much of our activity online as possible. And the Monday Folk Singers is the one element of that that's really remained because it's proved to be a really great model. It's We've renamed it folk singers because it isn't a choir, it's people singing individually, if you like, in their own room, in their own space. And we have a different choir leader every term, or a different folk song leader, sharing their songs, sharing the content, sharing the context of their songs, some history, and it's been a wonderful thing. It's enabled us to invite tutors from all over England that we wouldn't have been able to work with. So some of the first were Emily Portman, Lisa Knapp, Cohen Braithwaite Kilcoyne, Jim Causley, and more recently, people such as George Sampson, Jackie Oates, Angeline Morrison, and others. And it's been wonderful to have that diversity of voices and approaches and themes and regional specialities or other kinds of specialities within the folk song offer. And we found that people have joined from far and wide. So we've had people joining from all over the UK, from well beyond the UK as well. And as other people have touched on here, it's enabled people with busy lives or people who have a disability that means it's difficult for them to get out of the house to access this. It's supported by a wonderful volunteer who helps support the tutor in the space. And we also have a Google Classroom where sound files and song words and those kind of resources are posted for people to use. We typically have around 25 to 30 people joining each session. They sign up for a term. So it is a sort of, you join that singer for a term, you get to know their material. And there are opportunities for the singers within that group to have a performance spot if they want to share some of the songs that they've been working on or their interpretations of what the tutor has been presenting to them. And our wonderful volunteer does put together some kind of composite videos. That's something that he really loves doing for the group as well. So yes, it's the one thing that sort of remained from the pandemic. Our instrumental classes, the majority of the feedback who were people who were attending our classes were much more keen to come back in person. But the Monday Folk Singers is the one that we're very, very happy to continue. And it's sort of a wonderful addition to our learning program. So that's given you a very whistle-stop tour of what it is, how we do it. And I'm very happy to hand over to Maddie, who is the current tutor. We're thrilled to have Maddie leading the Monday Folk Singers for us this term. So Maddie will say a bit more about what they're doing there, but also their whole approach to online teaching and learning. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Mel as well. What a fantastic presentation that was. Shame we couldn't devote the whole 3 hours to you, but there we go. It was great. Thank you so much. So yes, Maddie, do you want to take over from me? And yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Rachel. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm going to start off by doing, I made a little 6-step guide. It should have been either 5 or 10 steps for my brain to like it, but unfortunately we ended up with a 6-step guide on how I try and make online singing facilitation more accessible. But before I start, my access realities are that I am a very fast speaker. So if I'm speaking too fast, let me know. And if you have any questions, I will probably have to have further clarifying questions to you to understand what you're asking from me. But it felt important to start with that. So yeah, I'm going to start off by just going through kind of some of the things that I do to make online sessions more accessible when we're teaching singing, and then I'm going to teach you a song. That's the plan. But let's start with these. So first thing that I think is really important when I'm teaching online is making the expectations really clear. So I think there's sometimes a bit of a misconception that we as people will know what the expectations are, actually in any situation, but particularly in online situations. And I really appreciated in this session today kind of how Kerry mentioned how it was great to keep your microphone off, and these were kind of the expectations for the session. So that's the first thing I always try and do is make sure that folk know what is expected of them, and remind folk this every week. So remind people that we're going to turn the microphones off. If your mic's on, I'll probably turn it off in the session. The second thing that I think is really important is giving people additional time. So it takes time to adjust to any environment, whether you're neurodivergent or not. But giving people time to adjust to what the online environment feels like, and that's different depending on, who's facilitating and who's in the space. Um, and also when we're teaching singing, allowing more time. I definitely notice that when I'm teaching stuff online, that people do need to go through it more. And I don't really know why that is, but I think it's important to keep that in mind. So going over things a little bit more, and also providing people with breaks and letting people come and go as they need to. Uh, my third thing is that online learning can be really uncomfortable. 2020 and lockdown was a really tricky time for lots and lots of people. And I think it's always important to be really aware of this. And I try and be aware of it and acknowledge it, particularly when working with younger participants, so folk who were in education or who had to go to school via Zoom. I really recognize that's something that can be really challenging for folk. And I just think that it's important to acknowledge that in a space and acknowledge that it can be uncomfortable. And also to kind of be aware of that in the way that some people might feel more comfortable accessing a space. So if your organization's okay with it, allow people to have their cameras off, allow people to have their microphones off, and allow people to engage in a way that feels comfortable with them in the context of how tricky 2020 was for so many people. Give folk information in advance. And I think this can be helpful for neurodivergent folk. So, as a dyslexic person, I love to have text in advance so I can scan through it and make sure I know what all the words sound like before I'm trying to learn something. But also, if you're autistic like myself, it's sometimes really nice to have a structure of something in advance. So, I always try and give things at least a week in advance when it comes to the Monday folk singing group. And I also think it's nice. I think it can also give people a sense of excitement and build up to a session. So if they know, okay, I've got the lyrics for this song, maybe I'll go away and listen to a few different versions. So I think that can be beneficial in that way. I do recognize I'm really speeding through this, so I hope that's okay. Um, the other thing I think is that's really important in terms of making online spaces feel more accessible is leading by example. So I've noticed that loads of people have their pronouns in their bios. That's super important. Things like telling people what your access needs are can be really helpful because it can make it okay. It can remind folk in the room, oh, actually, I'm allowed to ask for what my needs are, because if the person who's facilitating is allowed to tell you what their needs are, then I can do that too. And I know that's how I feel when I attend things. Using things like audio description. So if I was to make a joke and you were all really, really laughing at it, I can be hopeful. I would make sure that if it was like a visual thing that I'd done, I would be like, oh, what's happened there is I've spilt over my water and people find it very funny. Just to make sure that everyone in the room can kind of be part of the excitement and the joy that comes in online sessions. And yeah, so lead by example, that's my last thing. And my last one is just to encourage feedback. So I think it's really important to share with folk, I want to know how I can do better, and give people the space to tell you that, not just assuming that people feel like they can. And so I use things like feedback forms, links, Google polls, so that folk can give feedback in a way that they don't feel like I'm going to feel upset if they don't like, if I don't feel comfortable with what they've said, or that if it feels like a criticism. But I think encouraging feedback is really important. And also, yeah, I think so. Yeah, those are my 6 things. And now I'm going to teach you a song. So yeah, I'm going to teach you See the Swamp today. It's a trad song. It's an American song from the Appalachian singing tradition. I learnt it from the singing of Jean Ritchie, and it's a really I like it because I think it's a bit unusual because it's happy the whole way through, which I thought is quite nice for a folk song and might be a nice one to get started with today. Um, So here we go. I'm not going to play you the source today just because I'm time conscious. But I've all as well as having this here, I'm just going to paste the lyrics in the chat. So whichever way feels more comfortable. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sing it to you line by line, and we're going to learn it that way, and then have a little sing through at the end. But before I do that, let me just make sure that I've turned on original sound so that you can hear my guitar. Bear with me. I'm just going to reshare my screen. Oh, where's it gone? Wait, bear with. Or we could just use in fact, why don't we just use are people comfortable with using the lyrics in the chat? Is that okay? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're on screen and you're okay with using the lyrics from the chat? Great, I can see some thumbs up. That's good with me. Okay, cool. So we're going to be singing it around here today, or da, da, da. So can you have a feel of if that feels comfortable in your range? So la la la, or la 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 if you've got a lower voice. And if that feels comfortable for pitching, that's the highest we'll be singing is la. Can you give me a thumbs up to let me know that that feels okay? And if it doesn't, give me a big thumbs down. Great, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up, so I'm happy. Great. Great. I'm going to sing you a line. I want you to sing it back to me, and keep your microphones off for the time being, if that's okay. So first line goes like this. Way low down in the cedar swamp. Can you try that for me? Way low down in the cedar swamp. Beautiful. Water's deep and muddy. Can you try that? Water's deep and muddy. So the two lines together would be, way low down in the cedar swamp, water's deep and muddy. Should we try that? Way low down in the cedar swamp, water's deep and muddy. And the next line is, there I met my pretty little miss. So it's the same melody as the first line, which is nice. There I met my pretty little miss, and there I kissed my honey. There I kissed my honey. So the line together would be, there I met my pretty little miss, there I kissed my honey. So all of that little bit together would be, way low down in the cedar swamp, water's deep and muddy. There I met my pretty little miss, there I kissed my honey. So this song is lots of consonants, lots of fast words. So if I was doing a warm-up for this session, I'd make sure to be doing lots of like lip trills and like those seashells, those kind of things to get people into that space. So the B part of the verse is a slightly different tune, but then once we've learnt that we've learnt the whole thing, and you're experts at the song. So it goes, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Do you want to try that? Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. And then the same words, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Do you want to try that? Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. So the lines together would sound like, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Beautiful. So the whole verse together would sound like this. Way low down in the cedar swamp, water's deep and muddy. There I met my pretty little miss, there I kissed my honey. Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Beautiful. So the tune, we know it now. You're all experts at the song. It's very exciting. I'm going to sing the second verse for you now, and we'll do a little bit of it, me singing it twice, and then we'll probably just go straight for doing the whole thing for the sake of time. But starting in the same note. Oh, we've moved a little bit. Blue-eyed girl is mad at me, brown-eyed girl won't have me. Do you want to try that? Blue-eyed girl is mad at me, brown-eyed girl won't have me. So I married the dark-eyed girl, single life I'll tarry. Beautiful. So the voice there is basically saying, I'm gonna have, maybe I'll have to just be single forever because nobody fancies me, which is, It is what it is. And then our lovely little refrain: swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Should we try that together? Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. At this point in the session, I would also start talking about how I've changed the lyrics slightly and why I've done that. So there were some slightly politically incorrect words in the original that I've kind of shifted. In the song, in the singers group, I'd talk about why that is and kind of feeling comfortable as a singer and making the choices and kind of how that can still be respectful to tradition. So you can imagine I've done that now. The next verse is. So same tune. I built my love a big strong house. I built it in the garden. I put her in and she jumps out to fare you well, my darling. Do you want to try that? I build my love a big strong house. I build it in the garden. I put her in and she jumps out to fare you well, my darling. And then we have our beautiful swinger ladies. And then the final verse. The older she gets, the prettier she gets. I tell you she's a honey. She makes me work all through the week and get stove wood on Sunday. Should we try that together? The older she gets, the prettier she gets. I tell you she's a honey. She makes me work all through the week and get stove wood on Sunday. Beautiful. Okay, we now know the song. So to finish this, and it'll be an incredibly quick tempo version of Cedar Swamp. I wonder if we can all sing it together. I'm going to play a little bit of a riff at the beginning. And then we'll just jump straight in. So please sing along with whatever feels comfortable. And if you feel lost, just remember that the Swinger Lady up and downs will come back. So just sing along with those, and you could be super loud with those. And also nobody can hear you, so that's nice too. And then we'll also do quite a few of the Swinger Lady up and downs at the end for a little fun ending. So that's what you can prepare for. Way low down in the cedar swamp, waters deep and muddy. There I met my pretty little miss, there I kissed my honey. Swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home. Blue-eyed girl is mad at me, brown-eyed girl won't have me. So I married the dark-eyed girl, a single life I'll tarry. Swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home. I build my love a big strong house, I build it in the garden. I put her in and she jumps out to fare you well, my darling. Swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home. The older she gets, the prettier she gets. She's a honey. She makes me work all through the week and get stove wood on Sundays. Swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home. Way low down in the cedar swamp, waters deep and muddy. There I met my pretty little miss, there I kissed my honey. Swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down and swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home, swing a lady up and down, swing a lady home. Thank you so much, team. I will pass back to someone.
Can I say something, Maddie? That was absolutely glorious and a perfect example of what a superb tutor Maddie is for Monday Folk Singers. So yeah, it was really, really enjoyable. Thank you so much.